Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. Back here for another daily shake-up. Time to shake up our thoughts on life and leadership. And today I want to talk about the power of stories, but actually the reverse power, the power to be manipulated by stories and to fall in the trap that if I've heard the story, it must be a true story. And so I'm going to start with this and finish with it later to invite you into a new question to ask yourself about stories, whatever the story is. And it's this: is this story true, or is this a story that I have chosen to be true? That's the question. Is this story true, or is a story that I have chosen to be true? And I want to tell it in the context of Nelson Mandela indirectly, and a quote that he is often cited for, referenced for, etc. And it's the one behind me. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's often attributed to him, recited to him, and in fact, it's specifically attributed to a speech in 1994. Now, for a number of years, maybe more than a decade, I have known that that is not his original quote. In fact, there's consensus, if not complete agreement, that the person who wrote that quote was Marianne Williamson in a book she wrote in 1992 called The Course of Miracles. So it is no question that is her quote. And in fact, this fact that I always thought he just didn't give her attribution. It's a beautiful quote. He just didn't give her attribution. I wondered why. So recently I went and did some research on it and found out some crazy stuff, which is not only did he not give her attribution, it appears that he never said it. He never said this quote. In fact, according to the Nelson Mandela Foundation website, they acknowledge that they have no evidence that he said it. It's not in any of the speeches that he wrote for 1994. He gave three that day. It's not anywhere to be found. And the foundation admits they're often asked for permission to use this quote, and they've said it's not his. It's not only not his, it's Marianne Williamson's. He never said it. How wild is that? That this story got created somehow, that not only he said it instead of her, but that he said it at all. And I'm going to suggest that the same is true for all kinds of stories, including the stories we tell ourselves, about how the world is or isn't. We often say the world is a certain way, or this is what's required, or you gotta be know this. Well, knowing is an interesting question. And I'm going to suggest that most of the time, the stories that you are saying are true only because you chose to believe that they are true. And what are especially of those truths, the stories about yourself that you've chosen to believe are true. So this whole our deepest fear quote had it all wrong. What do you have wrong, or at least need to rethink by asking yourself, is this story true? Or is this a story that I have chosen to be true? That's my thought for today. Give it some thought. Let me know your thoughts on it. Love to have a like, a comment, even better, share it with your community as we continue to make a ruckus and shake things up in leadership.